I'm Carissa Husong. I came to Memphis in '96.
I'm David Lusk. I came to Memphis in 1983 to attend Southwestern in Memphis, what it was then called, now Rhodes College.
I decided to move to New York because I had a fellowship at the Whitney. When that was over, I had three choices. One, to stay in New York, work my way up in the gallery world or museum world, go back home to Seattle, or come down to Memphis and just sort of give it a shot and see what happened. And I worked at the Dixon for a year, and then the opportunity to start up a new public art program came about. When I started out, they weren't sure that I was necessarily the right person. They originally hired me on a temporary basis and decided to keep me. 2 weeks after I started my job, we got married, and less than a year later, I had my first child. Got the job I originally started out going after, and I don't think I could have done that in another community.
So I was looking for a larger city and a small school. I had a bike, which was my major means of transportation around town, and my only means of transportation. And so I got to know Memphis on my bike, and it felt like home, and it has been since then. I did an internship my senior year at Mud Island in their marketing department. Immediately thereafter, got another job with an ad agency, and I was there for about a year and took some time off. Took my time seeing what I wanted to do next. Well, I got placed at the Lisa Kurtz Art Gallery, which at that point was up on Front Street, no heat, no air conditioning. I had a great view of the river though. I worked with the Bingham Kurtz organization for another 5 years, and then started my own gallery. That was 8 years ago. Still selling art and still having fun doing that.
What I've always really liked about Memphis is that you can make a difference here. And I think a lot of that's just the city, the culture, the history, and the quality of life, the fact that you can survive.
Yeah, and again, I was just going to jump in. Most of the artists that I represent do survive as artists. There are about 35 people at this point. About half of that 35 is regional. By region, that stretches as far as New Orleans or the Baton Rouge sort of area, clear over and around Atlanta. The other half are American artists kind of making their way. That might be sculpture, that might be photography, that might be conceptual installations. It's a lot of painting, both on canvas and paintings that are on paper or some other surface that's behind glass.
The Urban Art Commission is a public art program, and basically it's integrating art into architecture. So it's permanent, large-scale art projects. So we worked on the Cooper Young Trestle project, which was one of our first community-based projects. So we did a national call. We decided we were going to give preference to Memphis artists, but weren't going to limit ourselves. And Jill just came through, and she had never done a project that scale. And I think it's really been a great leap in her career, as well as being a great project. And so that was wonderful. She was great to work with. So that was one of our first projects. We worked on the library, all of the integrated art in the library. We'll have about $1.4 million worth of public art going into the Cannon Center. We also recently passed a Percent for Art ordinance for the city of Memphis, and so we have about 10 to 14 projects happening per year. So we've obviously made an impact and convinced a lot of people about the value of art and using artists in the design process. It's really exciting, and it's also great to know that we can start impacting how the community looks, as well as developing artists' careers.
I do shows outside the country, or outside of Memphis. I tend to show Memphis artists' works. That's my little bit of chamber of commerce for myself when I'm outside of town, showing that something is going on here, something's happening.